Hey, hi, how are ya? It's Dr. Faith, your Faithfuldoc, and today we're going to talk about something that I haven't really covered yet, and that would be moisturizers. Let's get started. Well, here it is. We've talked about cleansers, we've talked about toners, we've talked about serums, and here we are finally in the last section of the moisturizing categories, and that would be creams. The thing that everybody tells you need to be putting on your face, your mother's night cream, your thing that'll prevent you from this water loss evaporation, which prevents you from wrinkles, right? So you want to know about moisturizers, huh? Well, now you know the difference between the serums and the moisturizers. Then we can talk about more about what are the dangers of moisturizers, what you should be looking for, and what you should be looking really honestly out for. There are three specific things in your moisturizers. There are humectants, emollients, and occlusives. I've talked about occlusives in the last video. The occlusives are basically anything that'll occlude or stop from moving, particularly water loss. They tend to be usually oily or waxy substances, and they are kind of act like a saran wrap in which they won't let anything escape from your skin. Now, humectants. Humectants are substances that attract water to the area and therefore makes the skin or substance or whatever that is binding to be more waterlogged, therefore giving it more plump, full textures. They usually draw water from two different places. That would be from the humid environment and then also from the surrounding water layers of your skin. So they tend to just plump up your skin and make it look a little fuller. Substances that usually are technically called humectants are fructose, sugars, honey, elastin, collagen, glycerin. These all attract water to the area and therefore make your skin look nice and plump. Now, emollients. I've talked about that in another video actually where I talked about shea butter. And emollients are basically softeners. They tend to make things look a little less wrinkly, as you can imagine. They soften the fine lines. They give your skin a little bit more of a softer texture, which is all over attractive. Some of these things include silicone, grapeseed oil, coconut oil, some kind of jojoba oils. And then where the dangers kind of come in is going to be more of your petroleum jellies, your mineral oils, which they have certain things that cause you to have issues with your skin. So why might you need a moisturizer? Good question. Nobody really needs anything. So let's get that clear. You're not gonna die if you don't have these things, obviously. But when it comes to these things, some people might want it more than others, but the people who probably would want a moisturizer over another would probably be people who have really dry skin, aging skin, and then people tend to have drier skins in the winter months. So sometimes you want to combine a serum and a moisturizer because then you can get the active ingredients to the skin, but then the moisturizer helps not lose those active ingredients to the environment. Who doesn't need it? Good question. The people who probably don't want it all would be people who have skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea. Rosacea is a really hard case, and I'm going to take a whole video on rosacea. My husband actually suffers from rosacea, so I have a little bit more understanding on it. It's a very difficult skin issue to treat because it doesn't have just one thing that affects it. Sensitive skin, for instance, you can just stop putting stuff on your sensitive skin. But with rosacea, there's a lot of problems that environmentally you can't control. Things like heat, and internally things like eating coffee, alcohol, caffeine, dehydration, stress. There's a lot of things that cause them to have outbreaks, and so therefore it's a very difficult thing to treat. The reason that I say that people might not need a moisturizer cream like the people with psoriasis, eczema, and rosacea is that they tend to have more sensitivities in their skin, and it's really hard to put those on there. But then again, if they have really dry skin, they don't tend to have issues with those moisturizers, they can benefit from it. So it's kind of a catch-22. Dangerous ingredients. Let's talk about it, shall we? Here comes the shit show train. Moisturizers have one of the most incredibly long list of ingredients I've ever seen, and I think it's because they're trying to get everything you possibly can into a cream base. And you know what? Like I said, fillers are super cheap, so it's easy to add all these extra fillers in there and gunk up the works when it comes to active ingredients. But like I also said, some people just need a lot more moisturizer in their skin because they just don't have they're just dry skin or they have aging skin, they just need to have extra. 5 dangerous ingredients that I don't particularly like in any product, but it's really common in moisturizers. Number 1, mineral oil. It's a petroleum derivative, but also it really causes acne to flare because, as you can imagine, it just is like speckle on your pores. Number 2, propylene glycol. Another kind of issue where it literally causes rashes, it worsens eczema, and it burns. Who wants that on their skin? Number 3, fragrance. I already talked about fragrance. Let's check out that video for fragrance. 1,000 different chemicals, you don't know what it is, trademarked fragrance, and therefore it could have all kinds of carcinogenic ingredients in it. Carcinogenic is causing cancer. Don't put cancer on your skin. Synthetic dyes. Now why? Why do we need to dye anything? I guess we have to make it pink and purple and blue and make it really attractive. No, we don't.
We don't need to do that.
Let's not do that. Let's just have it a normal color and it's just gonna soak into our skin. Why synthetic dyes are bad is because it causes all kinds of burning, rashes. People can have allergies to it, and some of them are actually carcinogenic as well. It would shock you to know how many things actually cause cancer in your skincare products.
It shocked me.
Now the last thing is parabens. Parabens, oh my god, parabens. Why? Here's the thing. Dermatologists always say this. Well, there's not enough evidence to say parabens are bad. Yeah, there is. In my personal opinion, just don't put skin that causes cancer. I don't know why this is so hard, but apparently this is a thing. So apparently they think that it's completely fine because it hasn't been shown in a huge population. Here's the thing, it has been shown. It has been shown in breast cancer, albeit a small amount, but why do you need more? And that's another problem I have with the research industry, is that they tend to look at things in really tiny populations and really tiny subjects, and then they isolate it all from any other portions of the body that might be acting on it, and then they say, oh, it's fine. Well, it's not fine, because what they basically did was they put parabens in rats, and then they said it didn't cause cancer in that many rats, or they'll do it in petri dishes and be like, oh, it didn't cause cancer in those cells, but they won't put it in a human being that has more than one thing going on and then kind of measure it that way. What are parabens? Great question. Parabens are preservatives. They go by the name methylparaben, propylparaben, and butylparaben, in whatever fashion. And guess what? There might be multiple of those kinds in your skincare. Parabens are not just found in skincare products either. They're found in food sources too.
Terrifying.
They're found in beer, processed food, pickles, frozen food, frozen desserts, skincare, hair care, in your deodorant. I mean, they're all over the place. And if you think about it, how many of those things are you actually eating and absorbing and putting on yourself every day? It's not just one thing, you guys. It's not just moisturizers is the problem. It's that it's in so many things. Now, what's the problem with parabens? I said it was carcinogenic, which means that it can cause cancer, but how is it causing cancer? What is the mechanism of action? Parabens tend to have an action on mimicking something called estrogen. Estrogen is your feminizing hormone. Both men and women need estrogen. Estrogen just tends to grow a lot of tissues, i.e. it grows your breasts, it grows your uterus, it grows a lot of different tissues. Now what parabens do is it mimics it. It is a weak estrogen binder, which means that it can attach to your estrogen receptors and it can turn them on. That is very dangerous for people who have breast cancer issues in their family because they can be more sensitive to them. People who have BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes tend to have more of an issue when it comes to propagating breast cancer in their families because estrogen binds those receptors and it can grow cancer. Now it can be carcinogenic, but also it could just ruin your hormones in general. What if you're just a person who can't handle a lot of estrogen? Some women are what they call estrogen dominant, which means that they have so much extra estrogen that's causing extra issues. The thing is we want everything to be in balance. We want to have an appropriate amount of progesterone, estrogen, testosterone for both men and women. When those things go off, that's when we start having symptoms. And so you can have more issues with heavier periods. You can have issues with not having enough progesterone because you have so much estrogen. And progesterone is your rest and relaxation. It's the one that's anti-anxiety. It's the one that helps you sleep. And believe me, menopausal women can tell you, it sucks when you don't have any. And there's a myriad of other issues when it comes to parabens that I'm not going to cover in this video, but you should do your own research on it because parabens are pretty nasty stuff and it's not necessary. You don't have to have that preservative in there. There's other preservatives that you can have in your product. Okay, so what do you want in your natural moisturizers? A lot of people use coconut oil. A lot of people use shea butter. Aloe. Aloe is amazing. Aloe vera is such a cool plant because it helps regulate inflammation, so therefore it doesn't have issues with redness resistant swelling. Aloe vera is an inflammatory modulator, which means it actually modulates or changes your inflammation, which is your immune system reaction, either up or down depending on what you need. It also is really helpful in emollient. As I said, it softens the skin. Aloe vera is also a vulnerary, which means that it actually helps skin heal faster, helps wounds heal faster. That's why you put it on cuts and burns. You can also have an olive oil in your moisturizers. They're super antimicrobial, and they also have all the nutrients that I've talked about in other videos. Honey is also a really cool moisturizer that you can actually just put on the skin, wait 10 minutes, and wash off. Super antimicrobial, so it'll kill all the bugs that are living on your skin. The bad ones, not the good ones. We want the good ones on there. And it's also a gentle exfoliant, so it'll not only pull off the dead skin cells, but it'll also help with the fine lines and the wrinkles, because that's what you're trying to do. Trying to scrub off all that extra dead skin to make it look nice, soft, and smooth. So I hope this video was helpful. Maybe someday in the future I'll talk about brands that I particularly like. I don't want to slam brands that I don't like, because I think that would just be inviting a lawsuit, and I don't really want to get sued. But what I want to do is be able to give you guys information, so therefore you feel more empowered to look at your ingredients and find one that particularly helps you guys out for whatever your skin issues are. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Next, what are we going to talk about next? I kind of want to talk about sunscreen. I think sunscreen would be a fun one to cover next, because you can make sunscreen out of your house. Also, the crap that you don't want in your sunscreen, but also maybe some things that you do. Some people struggle finding a good sunscreen. I struggle to find a good sunscreen, so it's something that I completely understand. So if you like this video, give it a good thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be posting videos pretty frequently, as much as I possibly can as a working professional, because it's hard, man. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!